Welcome back to the Crypto Bot channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and in the shorter term, the stock market is playing out some bullish price action, which has helped Bitcoin avoid a break to the downside, at least for now. But I'll be talking more about that in just a moment. Just giving you a really quick update on the daily Bitcoin chart and also the 2-day Bitcoin chart, just to let you know that we still have these active bullish divergences in play, which basically means we have a lack in bearish momentum after that extremely bearish move we saw a few weeks ago. And so as the subscribers would already know by now, I'm mostly expecting sideways choppy price action in the shorter term, talking about the next few days or so at least. But I'm also keeping an eye on this ascending line of support in the daily RSI, because if the RSI breaks below that line of support, then that would essentially invalidate this bullish divergence pattern, which means we could resume with some more bearish price action. But as of right now, at the time of recording this video, that has not happened. I'm just keeping an eye out for that. And when you zoom into the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously the Bitcoin price is still chopping around in this sideways price range, which has been a pretty good opportunity to trade if you've been longing support and shorting resistance. And over the past couple of weeks, the Bitcoin price has found a lot of support at around 28,500 and resistance at around 30.7k. But as I mentioned in my last video that I posted yesterday on the channel, we also need to keep an eye on this possible descending triangle pattern that is technically forming right now, because here on the 4-hour time frame, we do have a lower high structure in play, and we also have horizontal lows, relatively speaking. And technically speaking, this type of price structure is bearish because it shows us that the selling pressure is increasing while the buying pressure is remaining stagnant. And so more often than not, this type of pattern does end up breaking to the downside, but it's not impossible for it to break to the upside. It's just more likely for it to break to the downside, if that makes sense. But either way, in order to confirm the price target for this pattern, we need to break above resistance or below support. And this line of resistance is coming into play at around $30,000 per Bitcoin. And this line of support is coming in at around 28,500 approximately. And if the price of Bitcoin does end up breaking below around 28,500, then that would give us a technical price target down towards around 25 to 26,000. So basically, the price of Bitcoin could revisit those lows that we set a couple weeks ago if we see a confirmed break below around 28,500. But if we see a confirmed breakout above 30,000, and ideally I'd like to see a break above this level of resistance at around 30.7k. But if the price of Bitcoin does end up breaking above those important points of resistance, then that will give us a technical price target at around 33,000. And if you're looking at the Nasdaq 100 index on the 4-hour time frame, obviously we have this bullish divergence that I've been talking about for a few days now. And over the past few days, we've seen bullish price action in the shorter term after seeing that bullish divergence as expected. And the fact that the stock market is in the green today, that basically saved the Bitcoin price potentially from breaking down here. But obviously that break to the downside never confirmed. We just got one big wick to the downside and came straight back into this pattern. So obviously it will be a good thing for the price of Bitcoin if we see more bullish price action play out in the stock market. But something important to mention about this bullish divergence is the fact that this is only on the 4-hour time frame. And if you're looking at the last bullish divergence we saw on the 4-hour time frame, that was right back here at the end of April, early May. And that bullish divergence only played out for just a few days before the downtrend was resumed later on. So that is definitely something to keep in mind moving forward, because even though we're playing out some bullish price action right now in the shorter term, we still have a lot of work to do before we can call this a bullish trend reversal, because it's simply not that at the moment. But something very interesting is if you zoom out to the weekly time frame for the Nasdaq 100 index, we got this bounce this week right after the RSI entered into oversold territories on the weekly time frame, which is actually a very rare signal for the stock market. If you're looking at the last time that happened, that was back in the March 2020 crash. And if you look at where the weekly RSI got down towards oversold territories, it was basically the very next week where we bottomed out and started the uptrend again. And at the time of recording this video, that is pretty similar to what we're seeing right now, because obviously this week's weekly candle is a green candle for the stock markets. And it was only last week where we saw the weekly RSI enter into oversold territories for the first time since early 2020 once again. And on top of that, if you look at the DXY, which is the US dollar currency index on the weekly time frame, we are still seeing a significant rejection from this range of resistance in the DXY. And if this rejection continues into a further downtrend, this could be a very bullish signal for Bitcoin and the stock market, because some of the biggest gains in the price of Bitcoin that we've seen over the past 5 years or so were back during 2017, which was this this time period right here, and 2020 entering into early 2021, which was this time period right here. And so basically, if we see the US dollar currency index start a significant downtrend, that is an extremely bullish signal for Bitcoin. So the fact that we have now seen 2 solid weeks of red in the US dollar currency index, this is starting to look like a good signal for Bitcoin. So I will definitely be keeping a close eye on the US dollar currency index, and of course I'll update you if anything changes here in these videos. And make sure to check out one of these videos popping up right here on your screen if you want to know how to keep making money in crypto even if prices are going down. But anyway, that is it for this update. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.